you guys doing? So in case you haven't heard, the Boston Marathon that was scheduled for April 20th has been canceled. And there was over 31,000 runners expected to race, and about a third of those runners were coming from outside of the United States. So it does kind of make sense that the coronavirus or the COVID-19 virus was gonna cause the race to change substantially. And currently the plan is to move the race to a date in the fall. And this will be the first time that the race has been canceled or rescheduled in its 124-year history. And Boston's local economy is definitely gonna take a hit. It's estimated that about $200 million comes into Boston as a result of this race each year, and the race raises over $30 million for charities. So in this video, I want to take the opportunity to talk about a few things that you should be doing right now for a cancellation of a spring event. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Boston specifically, but I also want to go into some of the other options that you might have going forward. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Matt LeGrand, and I did Division I running a long time ago. I've run 2:33 for the marathon, and more recently I've been doing more triathlon-based races, and I really prefer the Ironman distance races. And I actually wasn't scheduled to run the Boston Marathon this year. This was going to be my wife's first Boston Marathon, and I'm obviously very proud of my wife for qualifying. And when we decided to do this race, we went ahead and purchased plane tickets, hotel reservations, and we paid for the race entry fee. And at the time of recording this video, the Boston Marathon is about 5 weeks away. And my wife has been doing a good job following the training plan that I wrote for her. And she's done a 20-miler and she has another one scheduled for this weekend. But we're definitely gonna make some changes. So I wanna talk about some of the things that we need to do right away, as well as some of the things that you guys should consider as well. And one of the initial things that you'll want to do is just figure out if your canceled event has a rescheduled date, and if it's a date that you're willing to race on. For Boston, it looks like they're going to reschedule for a Monday in late September, so it is something that we'll probably consider doing. It's not ideal for us, but I think we can move some stuff around and make that date work. And one of the very next things that you're gonna wanna do is just hop on the phone and call some of the reservations that you might already have in Boston, potentially check on their cancellation policies or their rescheduling policies. I know for us, that's gonna be a hotel reservation, potentially an airline reservation, and that's just about it. So I think what we'll be able to do is just reschedule those particular dates, but it's definitely better to do this early as opposed to waiting a little bit too long, just because a lot of hotels and airlines have cutoff dates for changes and cancellations. Now that you've taken care of a lot of the logistics, I would suggest that you take a look at your actual training program. If you're like my wife and you're fit and you've been working pretty hard and you don't want to waste all of that hard work that you've put in, I would definitely suggest taking a look around your local events, potentially looking for something small, a race that might not be canceled. Ideally, you'd find a marathon on a similar date to your race date, but that's not super realistic. So see if you can find a half marathon or even a 10K race that you might consider doing. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna say that a marathon training program doesn't translate over into a 10K race, but I disagree. I think even a 30-minute race is largely aerobic, and those 2-hour plus long runs that you've been putting in are nothing if they're not building your aerobic capacity. So definitely consider adding 1 or 2 races to your schedule, and you might surprise yourself. You might actually end up running a PR. And those races are gonna serve as a bit of an outlet for all the fitness that you've built, and it also gives you the opportunity to do something big and then take a bit of recovery afterwards, potentially giving yourself a good week or 2 rest before starting a build-up for this fall marathon. And lastly, I just want to say sorry to any of you guys that have had your spring races canceled. I know it's not ideal, and it's not ideal for the race director who's scrambling to figure out logistics at this point. It's definitely not ideal for the runners who have really no say in what's gonna happen next. But hopefully you can sneak out for a nice, easy long run and think about some of the positives. If you've qualified for Boston, you should be pretty confident in your ability to do so again in the future. You know what it takes to get there, you know how to train hard for a marathon like this, and you should know and be confident that you know how to train and race in events like this in the future. And if you're into any of this sort of stuff, and that would be, swimming, biking, or running, I would love it if you would consider subscribing to this channel. I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos, and we will see you guys on the next one.
Lagi punya